In the quiet hours of the morning, when most of the country was still asleep, a stretch of the N1 just outside Bloemfontein became the scene of sudden tragedy. But before we continue, please don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and tell us what could be the best way to prevent accidents in South Africa, especially during festive seasons. At approximately 1:20 a.m., emergency services were alerted to a serious bus accident along the national route. VR Med responded to the call, arriving at a scene that, even for seasoned first responders, carried the unmistakable weight of loss and urgency. A bus, traveling through the Free State under the cover of darkness, had been involved in a crash. The exact circumstances leading up to the incident remain under investigation, but what was immediately clear was the scale of the impact and the number of people affected. Medical personnel began assessments on the scene, working methodically amid the debris and the stillness of the early morning. Passengers, many of whom had likely been en route to destinations across provinces, were examined for injuries ranging from minor to severe. Some were treated where they lay, others required urgent transport. In total, 71 individuals were taken to hospitals in and around Bloemfontein for further medical care. Emergency vehicles moved back and forth through the night, their flashing lights cutting through the darkness as patients were stabilized and transferred. For 3 people, however, help came too late. The accident claimed 3 lives, marking a devastating end to journeys that were meant to continue beyond that stretch of road. Their deaths underscore the human cost of incidents that unfold in moments but leave lasting consequences for families, communities, and those who respond to such emergencies. At this stage, no further details have been released regarding the identities of the deceased or the nature of their injuries. Authorities have not yet confirmed what caused the accident, and no blame has been officially assigned. Investigations are expected to determine the sequence of events that led to the crash. What remains beyond dispute is the immediate and far-reaching impact. For the injured, the hours following the accident would have been filled with pain, confusion, and uncertainty. For families, the morning likely began with frantic phone calls, unanswered messages, and anxious waits outside hospital wards. For some, the news delivered would be irreversible. Emergency responders, too, carry the weight of these scenes long after they have cleared. The work of assessing, treating, and transporting dozens of patients in the early hours of the morning requires precision, calm, and emotional resilience. Each decision matters. Each minute counts. Bus travel remains a critical mode of transport for many South Africans, particularly for long-distance journeys taken overnight. These trips often carry workers returning home, families visiting relatives, and individuals pursuing opportunity across provinces. When an accident occurs, it does not affect only those on board. It ripples outward, touching lives far beyond the road itself. The N1, one of the country's major national routes, is familiar to countless motorists. By day, it is busy and exposed. By night, it becomes quieter but no less demanding. Reduced visibility, fatigue, and long travel hours can all play a role in shaping road conditions after midnight. Investigators will consider these and other factors as they work to establish what happened in the moments before the crash. Until those findings are made public, officials are urging caution against speculation. What is known has been confirmed by emergency responders on scene: the time, the location, the number of injured, and the lives lost. As daylight broke over Bloemfontein, the physical signs of the accident would have begun to fade. Traffic would resume. The road would reopen. For many motorists passing that stretch of the N1, it would appear like any other morning commute. But for the families of the 3 people who died, this day will never be ordinary again. They are now faced with grief that arrived without warning, in the middle of the night, carried by a phone call or a knock at the door. Plans made days or weeks in advance have been erased, replaced by mourning and unanswered questions. Hospitals in the area continue to care for those injured. Medical teams are working to assess the extent of injuries and provide treatment, while families wait for updates on loved ones. For some patients, recovery may be swift. For others, it could be long and uncertain. Incidents like this serve as a sobering reminder of how quickly lives can be altered on the road. A routine journey can become a scene of emergency in seconds. And while investigations seek causes and accountability, the immediate reality is one of human loss. Authorities are expected to release more information as it becomes available. Until then, the focus remains on supporting the injured, informing families, and ensuring that all necessary procedures are followed. VR Med, along with other emergency services, has extended condolences to the families affected by the loss of life. Those words, while deeply sincere, can never fully ease the pain left behind. Still, they reflect a shared recognition of the gravity of what has occurred. As the story continues to develop, it raises difficult but necessary questions about road safety, overnight travel, and the vulnerabilities faced by passengers who entrust their lives to long-distance journeys. These are questions investigators will examine carefully, guided by evidence rather than assumption. For now, what stands is the reality of the early morning hours on the N1 just outside Bloemfontein. 71 people taken to hospital, 3 lives lost, and a nation once again reminded of the fragile line between routine travel and irreversible tragedy. This is not just an accident report. It is a moment that has reshaped lives, one that will be felt long after the wreckage has been cleared and the road returned to normal use. And as families grieve and the injured recover, the hope remains that clarity will emerge from the investigation, clarity that may help prevent another night from ending in the same way. We will continue to follow this story as more information becomes available.